If you're so smart, then pay your own bills. My mom's voice sliced through the tiny apartment like broken glass. I was still in my work uniform, grease stains on my shirt, my feet aching from a double shift, when she shoved a stack of overdue notices into my hands as if they were my fault for existing. She didn't ask how my day was. She didn't ask if I'd eaten. She just stood there, eyes blazing, like I was the reason her life had fallen apart. I already paid the last 2, I muttered, staring at the red numbers screaming past due. She scoffed. Then pay the rest. If you're so educated, so independent, so grown up. She leaned in, almost spitting the words. Prove it. Pay your own bills. Something in me snapped. For years, I'd worked, studied, and handed over my paychecks while she played the victim. That night, I stopped feeling guilty and started feeling angry. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I walked to my room, grabbed my backpack, stuffed in clothes, my laptop, and the one framed photo of me and my dad. My hands were shaking, but my mind had never been clearer. She followed me down the hallway. Where do you think you're going? You told me to pay my own bills, I said quietly, so I'm going to live my own life. I walked out that night and didn't look back. A month later, my phone lit up with her name. I hesitated, then picked up. Sarah! She yelled, breathless and panicked. Why is the power off? What did you do? I took a slow breath, feeling the weight of everything I'd planned since the night I left. My response left her speechless. And it was only the beginning. If you've ever been told you owe your family everything, stay with me until the end. You'll see exactly what happened when I made my mom pay for her own bills, financially and emotionally. To understand why that phone call felt so satisfying, you need to know how we got there. My name is Sarah. I'm 22. And for as long as I can remember, money, or the lack of it, ruled our home. When my dad walked out years ago, he didn't just leave my mom, he left me too. All he left behind was an old photo, a pile of bills, and a woman who slowly turned her grief into a weapon. My mom, Cynthia, used to be warm. She used to laugh. After he left, she hardened. Every unpaid bill, every broken appliance, every failed job interview somehow became my fault. When I got my first part-time job at 16, she took my debit card for safekeeping. We're a team, she'd say, as she used my paycheck to cover rent, cigarettes, and cheap wine. By the time I started college, we meant me. She stopped looking for steady work and started relying on my scholarships, my student loans, my side hustles. If I ever complained, she'd snap, "Do you want us on the street? Your father didn't care about us." At least I stayed. So I stayed too. I worked late, studied later, and handed over whatever money I made. Any time I tried to set a boundary, she'd twist it. You think you're better than me because you went to college? Somehow, my achievements were insults. The night she told me to pay your own bills, it wasn't just about electricity or rent. It was about years of being treated like an ATM with feelings she refused to acknowledge. I crashed on my friend's couch that night. Lily, the one person who'd watched this mess from the outside. We sat in the dark living room, the glow from a street lamp spilling through the blinds as I replayed the argument in my head. You finally left, Lily whispered. You should have done it years ago. I know, I said, staring at my phone, expecting a barrage of texts that never came. But she's still got my name on everything. The lease, the utilities, the internet. If she stops paying, they'll come after me. Lily frowned. Can't you just remove your name? That innocent question triggered something. I'd spent years cleaning up her messes, paying her debts, protecting her from consequences. For the first time, I wondered what would happen if I stopped. A few days later, I went back to my old place to grab the rest of my things while she was out. That's when I saw it. A thick envelope on the table with my name on it. Not hers. Mine. Final notice, it said. I opened it and my stomach dropped. It wasn't just the power bill. It was a credit card I never opened. Thousands of dollars in debt. in my name. I stood alone in that silent, suffocating apartment, staring at the proof that this wasn't just a struggling mom leaning on her daughter. This was betrayal. And in that moment, my revenge stopped being an idea and quietly became a plan. I took the envelope and a few others I hadn't noticed before and ran back to Lily's place, my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. We spread the letters across her coffee table like crime scene photos. There it was again and again. My name, my social security number, my credit score being buried alive under charges I didn't make. Clothing stores I'd never shopped at. Late-night takeout from places across town. Cash advances. She opened credit cards in your name? Lily asked, eyes wide. Sarah, this is identity theft. This is illegal. She's my mom, I whispered. But even as I said it, the words felt weak and pathetic. I remembered all the times she'd waved away letters saying, just junk mail. All the times she'd made me sign routine forms without letting me read them. All the times she'd snapped, "You don't trust me?" if I asked too many questions. I trusted her because she was my mother. I just never realized she was willing to sell my future to keep her present comfortable. Lily placed a gentle hand on my arm. You can't keep covering for her. She's not just using your money anymore. She's using your name. That night, while Lily slept, I sat alone with my laptop, the letters, and a notebook. I pulled my credit report for the first time. Each line felt like a punch. Utility accounts in my name. Credit cards. A small loan I certainly never applied for. I started writing everything down. Account numbers, dates, balances. Every time I remembered her saying, "Sign here," or "I'll handle it." I screenshotted text messages where she guilt-tripped me into sending more money. I recorded voicemail after voicemail of her yelling, demanding, accusing. It felt wrong at first, like I was betraying her. Then I remembered the stack of red notices and the way she'd screamed, "If you're so smart, then pay your own bills." The way she'd never once apologized for dumping her life on top of mine. The next day, Lily dragged me to a free legal aid clinic. I showed the woman at the desk my documents with trembling hands. She looked through them carefully, then met my eyes. "Legally, this is serious," she said. "You have options. You can dispute these accounts, file a fraud report, even press charges if needed. You don't have to decide today, but you need to protect yourself." "Press charges?" I echoed, my voice small. "Against my own mother?" "Against the person who stole your identity," she corrected calmly. "Biology doesn't excuse criminal behavior." I walked out shaking, but something inside me had shifted. For years, my mom had hidden behind the word family like it was a shield. She thought it made her untouchable. That night, I closed my personal bank account and opened a new one at a different bank. I changed my direct deposit information at work. I called the utility companies and told them to remove me from everything tied to her address. For the electricity, the woman on the phone said, "If your name is removed, the remaining account holder will be fully responsible. If the balance goes unpaid, service will be disconnected." "Please note that," I replied. "I won't be making any more payments on that account." "Understood," she said. I hung up and stared at my phone for a long time. This wasn't a tantrum. This wasn't me being selfish or ungrateful like she always said. This was me cutting the cord she'd wrapped around my neck for years. Lily watched me from the doorway. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Scared," I admitted. But for the first time, I also feel like I'm not the one about to get burned. I knew the bills would come due soon. The power, the rent, the credit cards. And this time, when everything crashed down, she wouldn't be able to shove the rubble onto me. She wanted me to pay my own bills. Fine. I decided she was finally going to pay hers. Roughly a month after I left, my life was starting to feel mine. I had picked up extra shifts, found a cheap room to rent so I wasn't on Lily's couch forever, and slowly started crawling out from under the debt mountain my mom had built in my name. I'd disputed the fraudulent credit accounts, placed alerts on my file, and kept every single piece of proof against her in a neat, terrifying folder. But there was one thing I hadn't done. I hadn't called her. I saw her missed calls. I read her text messages without responding. "Where are you? You can't ignore me forever. So now you think you're too good for your own mother?" Each one added another brick to the wall forming between us. Then, one evening, as I was folding uniforms on my bed after a shift, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a call. Her name flashed on the screen. I almost ignored it. Then I remembered the utility call I'd made weeks ago, and curiosity won. I answered. "Sarah," she shouted immediately. "What did you do? Why is the power off? The whole apartment is dark. My food is spoiling. I can't charge my phone. I can't even see anything." I could almost picture her pacing in the living room, acting like this happened out of nowhere, like bills were some random punishment from the universe. I took a breath and kept my voice calm. "Did you pay the electric bill?" "Don't start with me," she snapped. "You always handled it. They said the account holder removed herself and there's a past due balance. Why would you do that to me? Are you trying to ruin my life?" For a second, the old guilt surged inside me, the part of me that wanted to rush over there with my card, swipe again, fix it all, apologize for even daring to leave. Then I thought of the envelopes, the fraud, my gutted credit score, her screaming at me with those overdue notices in my face telling me to pay your own bills. "I didn't do anything to you," I said slowly. "I just stopped paying for you." Silence. "What is that supposed to mean?" she demanded. "It means the electricity account is now in your name alone," I explained. I removed myself. If you don't pay it, they cut it. That's how it works. I'm not your cosigner. I'm not your guarantor. And I'm not your backup plan anymore. "You ungrateful child," she hissed. "After everything I've sacrificed for you, you're just going to abandon me in the dark?" "You didn't sacrifice for me," I corrected, my voice shaking but steady. "You sacrificed me. You stole my money. You opened credit cards in my name. You wrecked my credit. You made me responsible for your life, and then blamed me every time it wasn't good enough." "That's not true! I'm your mother!" she screamed, as if that word erased every fact. "I have copies of everything," I replied quietly. "The accounts, the signatures, the statements. I've already started disputing them. I talked to legal aid. This isn't just family drama anymore." She went dead silent. "Sarah," she finally whispered, her voice suddenly small. You wouldn't turn on me like that. You wouldn't drag strangers into our business." "Our business?" I repeated. "You turned it into my business when you put everything in my name." Breathing hard, she tried one last weapon. "If you tell anyone, I'll make sure the whole family hears how you abandoned me. They'll all know how selfish you are." I almost laughed. "Good," I said, "because I'm done being the secret you hide your behavior behind. If you want to talk to them, we'll all talk. With proof." The line crackled with her stunned silence. For the first time in my life, I wasn't begging her to calm down. I wasn't apologizing just to end the fight. I was the calm one, and she was the one spiraling. "Get used to it," I added quietly. "The power going off? That's just the first bill coming due." I ended the call before she could respond, my heart racing, my hands trembling. It felt like jumping off a cliff and realizing, mid-air, that you might actually land on your feet. My revenge wasn't setting her on fire. It was refusing to put myself out to keep her warm. But I knew her. She wouldn't go down quietly.